Hello, and welcome to the Run.down. I'm your host, Schwinn, because Sam is lazy and Jeff can't watch this game at his house. He has to watch at a bar because he's an alcoholic. No, because he doesn't get the broadcast at home. Uh, so the Knicks emerged victorious 122-108 over the Hornets. Jalen Brunson, 26 points in the first half. DiVincenzo finished with, I believe, 25. He hit 7 threes tonight. Just a really, really spectacular performance from him. But we're gonna talk about all that. Before we do that, do have to make sure everybody knows BetOnline is our sponsor. The last of the major pro sports leagues kicks off this weekend. BetOnline is your top spot for all your NBA action this season. With MLB postseason, NFL and college football, and NHL in full swing, BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. Get everything NBA at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access for every sport anytime. Head to the BetOnline app today to get in on the action. Don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Yeah, this was I don't want to say it was a walk in the park, but it's the second consecutive wire-to-wire victory the Knicks have had. And I think the best thing you could say about this is that, or about this team right now, is that I don't think we've still yet had a game where everybody's kind of had it going, but you're getting different people to step up every single night. And most importantly, Brunson's starting to catch a rhythm. He's kind of got off to a slow start this season, but these last 4 or 5 games, I think the shooting touch is coming around. He's been on a heater from 3, but tonight he had the mid-range going tonight too. So really good to see. And also, like, DiVincenzo, look, let me just say, I'm not sure that I'm not ready to say bench Grimes, but he's certainly making a case for himself right now. Dante is. He's been awesome, and really just can't say enough about how good he was tonight. And just, I think he's adding a lot to this group with how he's played and kind of how he's turning up. So what did you think of tonight's game, Con?
I want to just preface what I'm going to say with, like, I really locked in after the first quarter just because I had some stuff going on. I was watching it on a stream. But with that starting lineup comment specifically, I think Dante just knows how to score with those other guys who demand the ball more, way better than Grimes does. I think, it's nothing to say that, like, he's a better player than Grimes or, wherever you fall on the spectrum with that. I don't care, honestly. But he knows how to pick his spots way better. And he's not gun shy to just rise up and shoot, which we all wish Grimes did more, but he doesn't seem to be comfortable doing it that much. And I don't think you lose much defense, if any at all, by benching Grimes. I think in the long run, it might even be better for Grimes to just get a little more comfortable on the ball and off the bench, kind of sharing ball handling duties with Quick.
Yeah, and I think the main thing, to go back to what you're talking about Dante with starters, it's not just about being gun shy. I think he just, like, Grimes, I've actually talked about this a little bit, but, like, I haven't really liked Grimes' movement off the ball. Like, it feels like, yes, you're spotting up in the corner. That doesn't mean when Julius or when Jalen or whenever anybody is putting the ball on the floor, RJ, Quick, whoever it is, that you just have to stand there stationary. You've got to make yourself open. You've got to find angles. And I just feel like he hasn't done that. Like, I just feel like he's been very, very stationary off ball. And, we can sit here and be like, well, that's the offense and blah, blah, blah. But, like, I think you've seen evidence now through 2 games with DiVincenzo in there that, like, hey, look, like, are you going to get 15 shots? Are you going to get to put the ball on the deck a bunch? No. But there's definitely more scope for getting usage up than Grimes is kind of making himself available for right now. And, I'm not going to say it's all Grimes' fault. I'm not going to say that, look, we've also played the fucking Wizards and the Hornets. Okay. So, like, we can pump the brakes here a little bit. We don't need to act like this proves everything. We have a long and a big sample of Grimes with that starting group being a really, really significant positive. So, like, I'm not ready to just throw that away just because DiVincenzo had 2 really nice games and tonight was awesome against two of the worst teams in the NBA, quite frankly. But I think you at least saw an example of, hey, Quentin, like, we need to see some of this from you. And one thing that there's two things I've noticed with DiVincenzo, especially in these last two games, that we haven't always seen from Grimes. One is obviously he'll catch the ball, guy will close out to him, and he's still comfortable shooting with the hand in his face. I'm not saying Grimes isn't. I've seen Grimes do that, but he seems a lot more hesitant to call his own number in those situations than I've seen from DiVincenzo. The other thing I think that's very, very noticeable is DiVincenzo's not some amazing ball handler, but he definitely gives you a little bit more juice with that group. When that ball comes to the second side and Randle wants to run DHO with DiVincenzo, there's a little bit more action going on there than when he does it with Grimes, because it just feels like Grimes in all those situations, he comes off the screen, and then, like, if he doesn't have a clean look, he's not even looking to put the ball on the floor at all. Even if it's not to get all the way to the rim, even if it's just to create a pocket pass back to Julius. We actually saw that a couple times today from Dante. So, like, there's just stuff that I think I wouldn't, like, look, if Grimes is healthy next game, I wouldn't really feel comfortable just being like, well, guess what, dude, you lost your job. Like, I don't think that's fair, but I do think it's a sign, like, you can point to some things here very tangibly, right? If you're the coaching staff, somebody going over film with him, being like, hey, look, bud, like, see these things that he did in these couple of games. These are things you can do and need to do. We need you to do that. But yeah, look, this was just a really, really awesome performance from DiVincenzo, and got to be said, I mean, Brunson just fucking awesome today. Really, really nice.
Yeah, and I love praising JB. I love praising Dante. I want to bring this up from Jordan Bubb. Mitch Robb leading the NBA in offensive rebounds now by over 25. If my math checks out, which I'm 99,000% sure it does. And then this is something I looked up because I wanted to make sure before I got on here. So 70 defensive rebounds, 78 offensive rebounds, averaging 6 per game, more than anyone in the 21st century. What I looked up was Mitch Robb is pacing for over 480 offensive rebounds this season, which would be the 5th most in the history of the NBA in a season, going back to the inception of basketball. We are seeing the most dominant rebounder maybe since, like, I don't know, Dennis Rodman. Because I guarantee you, if I don't know, you can speak better to that than I have.
I don't know. I don't know if I would. I'm not ready to go there. But, like, I mean, you want to see it for a longer, like, period of time, right? But, like, the numbers at least make that. It's not an outrageous statement. Yeah, it's not an outrageous statement at all.
And then I also think, like, those numbers would be way higher if Julius Randle wasn't playing next to him. Like, not a shot at Julius. Like, I'm not gonna fault him for going hard after boards too, but he does a lot of cleanup after Mitch does dirty work, and that's been discussed a whole lot on various different, pods, whatever. So we all know that that's true. And then he had 4 blocks. I mean, he continues to climb up the block leaderboard in Knicks history. I don't know where he ranks right now. I know he moved up to 3rd for total rebounds.
I'm telling you one thing. He'll never catch some of these old head centers, just because, like, back then the block numbers, like, if anybody, people probably, like, you guys are babies, so you don't look at the true greats of the game. No, I'm just kidding. But, like, if you look at some of these, like, older centers, man, like, some numbers like Hakeem and Robinson and Ewing were putting up block numbers, like, you just won't get that now because the game is so different. Like, how you're not going to get blocks to that degree when like 40% of the shots in a game are threes, right? It's just not going to happen. But yeah, like, he's as good as anybody right now in the modern era for sure.
And one other thing one other stat I searched up was he's pacing for this season to end up with around 950 total rebounds. That would put him, let me see what I wrote down over here. The 18th best rebounding season since small ball started, and it really took off in 2015. So he is, like, people talk about, you can't put him over Gobert because Gobert has the track record. Can't put him over XYZ because they've done it for longer. Like, no, man. Mitch Robinson, it's like Jokic, Bam, who am I missing? In like that top center conversation.
Jokic, Bam,
Embiid.
I mean, those three to me are like, I think Jokic is in his own fucking
tier. Yeah.
Bracket. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. And then I would put Bam in the same tier as Embiid right now. I know most people will be like, that's crazy.
Oh, no, I agree, bro. I agree with that full-heartedly.
Yeah. I would. I personally think Bam's just an easier fit to on like most teams. But whatever, that's a totally different conversation. But like after those three, I think you can have the conversation. Like the conversation exists after that guy. I know Sabonis is always a weird one because it's like he's so good on offense, but then defensively you're like, well, what do you do around here?
In a playoff series, I think he would pull Sabonis' pants down.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And also like, look, at the end of the like the limitations with Mitch, I don't think we should gloss over them. Like, I do think that when you get to later rounds, the playoffs and stuff, as we saw against Miami, right? Like they game plan to take away Mitch, and they were successful in doing it to a large degree because he doesn't have the all around skill set to like overcome some of that stuff. But I think what needs to be said is they game plan for him. Like you had a second round opponent coached by Eric Spoelstra, probably the best coach in the league, game planning significantly to take away Mitchell Robinson. That should tell you everything that you need to know about him as a player. So like you can tell me all about, oh, well, he can't short roll pass, and I would like if he could make free throws better and had a mid-range jumper and whatever the fuck. Like, I don't really give a shit, dude. Give me the elite skills. Give me the elite offensive rebounding. Give me the elite defensive rebounding. Give me the elite rim protection. And he's become an actual good screen setter now. Like that's a massive development for him. So I really don't care about the stuff that he's not good at, especially on his contract. I think it's if he has issues and holes as a player that can be exploited in certain matchups, then it's incumbent on the front office and the coaching staff to develop options to pivot to when that arises.
And I think we have that.
Yeah, I think we have options, like I do think we could use like a big wing. Obviously, everybody's talked about this forever. I can't believe I'm just going to throw this out there because I was thinking about this today. I think like weirdly, Kelly Olynyk would be an interesting add to me. Just like as a stretch 5 option and somebody who's like an actual 5. Just if you wanted that look, because I don't think Hartenstein's a stretch 5 and Tibbs clearly doesn't trust Julius to play the 5 at all. So it is what it is. Anyway, I don't want to go too deep into like, roster stuff, but yeah, this was just a really good game. And like, it says something about this team that I don't think RJ didn't have a good game. Quickly didn't have a good game. And you won by 14 on the second night of a back-to-back. Granted, Charlotte did also play a back. They're on the second night of a back-to-back also. They didn't travel. But the Knicks are also in their 4th game, I believe, in 5 days. Something like that.
I think it's 4 and 6 days.
Something like that, whatever it is. But they're in a little bit of a murderer's row kind of stretch here. So for them to offset this, and like they didn't have RJ last night, like they basically played. I mean, I guess they played 9 guys because Fournier got minutes for whatever reason. But like they played shorthanded, and they've played shorthanded. They closed out Atlanta shorthanded, and they're technically shorthanded again tonight. So like the fact that they are not just winning these games against bad teams, but they have absolutely destroyed bad teams this year. They are not. I know that they have these stretches every game where they're like, oh, they're letting teams back in the game. It's an NBA team, dude. You're not going to just, it's very rare that you're just going to beat the absolute shit out of a team for 48 minutes. That's why when you win a game by like 30 or something, it's rare, right? It doesn't happen that often. So like, they are handling their business. They are taking care of these teams at the end when you need to execute. And that says something about the quality of this team and their professionalism and their preparation.
Credit to Coach Tibbs.
I mean, I agree. I think you do have to credit him, and I've been pretty like happy with him overall this season. I didn't like that he started Dante yesterday, But I loved that he started Dante today. I was worried he was going to start Hart. And so for him to it just shows me that, I might not agree. I don't agree with all his choices, but I do think that he's definitely consistently making better choices. And he's leaning in a little bit more to the versatility that this roster is affording him. So I think he deserves a lot of credit. And, the defense is a lot better. They're getting more turnovers. They're still ending possessions at a high rate. I mean, tonight, it said they overcame the fact that Charlotte was unconscious from three for some reason. Brandon Miller, this guy can't make a shot against anybody else in the fucking NBA. And against the Knicks, he turns into Kevin Durant. Yeah, he turns into Kevin Durant when he plays the Knicks. But it's nice to, I'll put it this way. It's nice that when the Knicks sucked for a good part of 20 years, we would be the Charlotte Hornets in a game like this, and we would cut the lead to 5 with, 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And we would think, oh man, we have a shot to win this game. Here we go. Let's get this win. And then they would bring in their best player, and that would be the end of the game. And that's what happened today. The Knicks were it was an 8-point game. Tibbs brings back in Jalen, and that was it. The game was over right then. They had no shot. It was just really, really professional, really clean on the second night of a back-to-back again. Handling your business against inferior opponent. I don't think anybody really got ran into the ground in these games. So good on the players, good on Tibbs. Yeah.
Can we talk about Julius?
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about Julius.
Sure. I thought Julius was really funny tonight. He got his and ones, and then he did his little flex after. I thought the double teams specifically in the second half were mediocre at best. The way he managed them was mediocre. I thought the decision making was slow again for the most part, especially on one kind of in the middle beginning of the fourth quarter. He just let himself get trapped in the corner, which is dumb. And yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to do the same song and dance, right? I hate to beat a dead horse, but it's the only thing holding us back from me getting off an egregious take about us making the finals or something.
I mean, all I'll say is this: I think there's something to when we played the Hawks. I thought the fourth quarter he played in that game was about as good as it can be. He was awesome in that fourth quarter. I do think that when he plays a team that he just doesn't respect against, with a player he doesn't respect, he has a habit of trying to force the issue at times he doesn't really need to. In that fourth quarter, when we were kind of separating from them, the only moments where they were able to have any success was it felt like when Julius was trying to do a little bit too much and would turn the ball over, and then they would get out in transition, right? I don't really know, if it's worth even talking about, because it is what it is. He's either going to figure it out or he's not. And I mean, I've planted my flag on the hill of I don't think he will, but there's really nothing to debate. The guy's a 10th-year vet. He's either going to do it or he won't do it, and we'll move on with it. There's really, I don't know. I totally understand what you're saying, and I agree. If you could trust him consistently as a decision maker, forget the shooting, just as a decision maker, I think this team would be probably seen even by general consensus a lot more seriously than we are currently. But it is what it is.
Yeah,
that's something that is more of a long-term issue, because as it stands right now, I don't think there's a chance in hell the Knicks are going to trade him in season. To be honest, I don't really see the Knicks doing anything in season that involve our main guys, just because the players that, I mean, I've thought this all summer. I thought it was stupid when we signed Dante, and people were like, "Oh, what's going to happen now?" And I'm like, they're going to have Dante replace Obi, and we'll all move on with our lives, because Obi, bless his heart, love him. Hope wish him all the best in Indiana. He is not a good defender, and he is not a good rebounder. or at least at the very least, he's not an impact defender or an impact rebounder. And Dante is both of those things. I never cared about the size thing. I thought that was stupid.
Size doesn't matter to Schwinn.
Yep, that's what she said to me. But yeah, like I just it was, I don't know, like I just think people are always trying to like assume the Knicks are about to make this big swing. Like, oh, what does it mean? Oh, quickly didn't get extended. Is he gonna get traded right this second? Like, I don't think so. They want to win ball games. This team wants to win ball games. It is very hard to look at the rotation right now and tell me what trade you can make that 100% improves this roster in season. It is very hard. And on top of that, it's also very hard to be like, well, what if we traded Fournier with like a protected pick or two for an actual useful player? And it's like, yeah, look, I don't totally hate that idea, but is that player going to get minutes? And if they're not, what's the point? I don't know.
And Schwinn, like, not like this is kind of a Cashman quote that I'm going to drop on you, but like, you need a trade partner to make a trade.
Yeah.
So like going up and down the league, Chicago, like, is Patrick Williams somebody we're going to trade for who needs to get extended? Probably not. I mean, maybe that might be actually the most likely guy. Does Utah have anybody? Probably not. Do the Clippers have anybody? They're not going to sell. Like, there's nothing to really go after.
Yeah, I mean,
which
that's
also makes the people who are like, oh, why do we trade for Josh Hart thing look even worse.
Look, if you are upset that the Knicks are trying to win basketball games because you don't think that's like prudent roster construction, planning, whatever, towards the end goal of winning a championship, not gonna lie to you, I don't really understand that. Like, so you're saying, like, you're basically suggesting that the Knicks should do nothing until they have a certified top 2, 3, 4, 5 player who's a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer, and is on par or at least can be in the conversation with like Nikola Jokic or Giannis or Steph or LeBron, and like, I'm sorry, that's just
not feasible.
It's cowardly. It's cowardly. It is fake. It's faux intelligence. It is acting sophisticated about team building and pretending there's 100% accurate and 100% guaranteed way to go about winning and competing at the highest levels in the NBA. That is just not true and isn't based on facts of any kind.
That stuff is like you're trying so hard to be smart that you're just being stupid.
I mean, it's also like, why like you're miserable about this Knicks, these Knicks who have no rotation player under the age of 28 years old. These Knicks who have all of their
over the age of 28.
Yeah, nobody over the age of 28. Correct. These Knicks who have 4 of the 9 guys in their rotation are players they've drafted and developed. Like these Knicks who signed Jalen Brunson to a below market value contract. You can go on and on. If you're miserable about these Knicks, I'm really happy I wasn't talking to you in like 2007. Say that, like, or like 2015 or like 2019 or any fucking year basically in the last 20. I could throw a dart at and I'd be like, oh, I'm very happy that I didn't know you then, or I didn't talk to you then, or I had no access to like your thoughts at that point in time. This is like a good team. It's a well-constructed roster. Is it perfect? No. Do they still have work to do? Yes. Do I think they're going to win the championship this year? No, I don't. So like, if the only thing that's going to please you is a championship, then go fuck yourself. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it sounds pretty miserable. There's things like, I'm sorry, like sports is supposed to be fun. Rooting for your team is supposed to be fun. This team has a lot of players that I think are fun to root for.
Yeah.
And even somebody like Julius Randle, who infuriates me to no end. I can appreciate how good he is and how impactful he can be. I can appreciate that while not necessarily being of the opinion that like we can win a championship, like, or we like if like I have to like, you can't operate every second of every game of every season being like, well, can this team win a championship? Like, if that's the only thing that's going to give you joy, I don't know. Then just stop watching sports, or like, I don't know, go root for like the Chiefs or something. Like, I don't know.
Bro, the thing that like I get kind of angry about this is when Lakers fans post those lineups from like their dark times before LeBron got there, and it was like, Robert Sacre and whoever else the fuck was on
like
there.
they were down for a good 6 or 7 years, Con. So.
Yeah, six or 7 years. Oh, and then my entire fucking childhood, besides 2012, I had to watch Alexei Shved and Samuel Dalembert and the fucking corpse of Jarrett Jack. Okay, and then I had to watch Ramon Sessions. Okay, and Lance Thomas, and I had to watch a million other fucking bums. And I see people hating on this Knicks team that as of today, after this game, is on pace to win 50 games. After we've played the Celtics twice and lost both times, after RJ has missed 3 games, after Randle, it just looked like he didn't know what he was doing for the first 8 games.
I still don't think Randle is all the way back yet. Like, I have a feeling that like, so if you watch the Hawks game and you go back yesterday, watch the Wizards game again, he started up both those games awesome. I mean, I thought the first quarter of the Wizards game was about as good a quarter as I've ever seen him play. I mean, he was totally in command of everything. And then he like kind of went like in the Hawks game, I thought he kind of went quiet a little bit in the second and third quarter, but then he was able to get it back in the fourth. Against the Wizards, I just thought after the first quarter, he wasn't very good. And I think with him, you see a very direct line between like how he feels physically and his decision-making and his approach. And I think those are very, very linked. So like watching him tonight, I was like, all right, he's probably still getting his legs underneath him. Second night of a back-to-back, it's not really moving great, kind of making dumb decisions a lot. I don't think he's close to. I wouldn't say he's not close, but he's not 100% right now yet. Still,
yeah.
And we're 8-5, and like, yeah, you can tell me, well, you should beat the Wizards and Hornets. Yeah, and we did. So what's the issue? Like, I don't know what to tell you. And we beat the Hawks without RJ, and we closed that game without Grimes, right? Like, so we've won games. And to your point, like, yeah, guys have missed games. Guys have not been 100%. I don't even think Josh Hart was 100% when we started the season, and only now do I feel like he's got that kind of oomph back in his game, and he's playing with force again.
He wasn't hesitating today, which was cool for the most part.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Hawkeye 420. Can't believe we went 4-1 in such a terribly scheduled week. Injuries, refs, back-to-backs, and they still played great. NBA trying to bury us early. They will not succeed. It's like the Tom Brady gif. We're still here. I actually hate how good of it. Like, it's so good, and I hate that because it's Tom Brady and the Patriots. But it is. That's like an all-time one. Yeah, here's good. Con matching the Schwinn-Rance energy. Someone post the Kobe Shaq vid. I think.
Dude, do you guys watch Strictly NFL, bro? All I do is talk. Dude, I get into, especially the first week. I had the craziest rant of my life the first episode.
Yeah, but the thing is, then you're like, so then I looked at the all-22 film and I broke down the left guard's pulling technique.
Then I wasn't so mad.
Yeah, he actually did pretty well when I look back at it.
Also, Caleb Williams. I got the shirt on for Caleb.
Let me tell you something. That USC team is a fucking joke.
They're fucking
anyway,
yeah,
they're terrible. And it's funny. People are like, oh, they should fire Lincoln Riley. I'm like, let me tell you something about contracts and money. They can't fire Lincoln Riley.
You know, they gave Lincoln Riley around the clock use of their family private jet.
Yeah.
all for him to not make them a top 25 team.
Who knows? But to bring it back to this game, this is not strictly NCAA football. But like, I mean, just looking at his box score, I know that I think Knicks Tape said it earlier, but like DiVincenzo, 3 steals and a block. That steal he had in transition on LaMelo was incredible, where he read him throwing a behind the back pass and just jumped in the passing lane. That was incredible. Josh Hart, 3 steals. Mitchell Robinson, 4 blocks tonight. Look, we can sit here and say things about Julius Randle, right? Even amid his bad decision-making stuff, like 7 assists, 7 assists tonight. Barnson 8 assists. Like it's just nice when you look at a box score and you see, oh, even though RJ and Quick didn't have great games, like you're getting all these other guys to produce, and it's still okay. You know, they had 27 assists tonight on 46 made shots. Like this team is
That's
good.
been a common theme for us in a lot of games, and it's such a big improvement from last year.
Yeah, I think. Look, again, I've always said this. Like, if your expectation is for a Tibbs team to all of a sudden be running like beautiful, flowing Warriors offense, like, sorry, bud, like it's not going to happen. But if you are actually watching this team this year and you think they're running the same exact offense they did last year, I totally disagree with that. I think they're 100% trying to move the ball more. I think they are trying to play faster. I'm not saying they're always successful, especially not with the pace, but I do think they're moving the ball more. I do think they have better movement in the half court, which is probably related to playing more mobile lineups, right? Less rigidity. I'm not that Obi himself was. Obi was always active, right? He was an active player off ball, but I think there's just a more natural fluidity when you play this many perimeter guys. And then the other part is just like, I think, you know, this team offensively, like they're playing well because they're shooting well. They still are not playing, like they're not shooting well inside the arc, and they're shooting so poorly inside the arc that you can't tell me that like it's such an outlier. It has to improve. It will improve. So like there's a lot of reason to believe this team is still, you know, it still has plenty of upside to explore. And, you know, I just got to say, I thought Deuce looked good tonight in his limited minutes. Thought he looked fine yesterday, too, when he played a little bit. But this is a good team, man. And I think this team has a lot more upside than a lot of Knicks fans want to give them credit for. And certainly, I think the way that a lot of national media guys, analysts, whatever, really look at them for.
I mean, you're right. And I spoke earlier about how we're pacing for 50 wins. Right. I mean, now at this point, I have no clue who Don Cheney is. I'm sorry.
Don Cheney was the coach after Jeff Van Gundy quit, and he was not great.
I'll take your word for it. And then, so we were on pace for 50 wins. I said all that other shit about what we've been going through. Like, if we get to 54 wins, I'm not surprised. Like, I think we can push for potentially even like 55, 56. I don't think that's crazy for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. This team is just, they don't have, like, again, so this is what's beautiful about this team, right? Quick tonight, 4 of 11, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Just didn't have a good game. RJ Barrett, 5 of 15, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Not really a great game. And even with that, you know, he can, RJ, you don't really got it tonight? 26 minutes. Quick, you don't really got it tonight? 23 minutes. Oh, Josh, you're playing good? 29 minutes. DiVincenzo, you're playing good? 28 minutes. Like, he can move the sliders up and down on various players on any given night.
Yeah.
Now, is he always going to do that? Is he always going to nail those decisions? I would be surprised. Like, I'm being realistically, like, not just him, but most coaches, they're not going to nail all those decisions. Yeah. But the fact that he at least has those options and that we're seeing evidence of, like, he's willing to, like, you know, dial it up or dial it down, give it on a given night, that's a good sign. You know, that's what you want to see on a team like this, because their versatility is kind of the key to what will make this team tick or not tick. And then, you know, the continuity is great. Alan Hahn, actually, I don't know if this is true. I would assume it is because he said it very confidently. He mentioned today on the postgame, no team in the NBA returned as much of its offense. So I'm assuming he meant points per game as the Knicks did from last year. 93%. 93% of their points per game returned from last season, or points scored, I'm assuming. So, like, the continuity is real. And it's almost like, I don't know how to like really explain this, but it feels like even though DiVincenzo is new, he's not. It's kind of like when we got Hart last year. I was like, he's new, but he may as well have just like always been here. Like, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
There's good connectivity. Obviously, it helps that he has an established rapport with Brunson and Hart, and I think you could see that in those minutes those guys have played together this year. but like it's only going to get better with other guys, and it's huge for him to hit those threes that he did tonight from like those passes from Julius, because Julius will trust him and he'll be more willing to make those passes. So like it's really good. By the way, just a fun fact about Don Chaney: when he got fired, he got escorted out of the building by security. Isaiah Thomas made sure to let that happen. Shout out Isaiah.
Like that gif of when like Stone Cold just got finished beating the shit out of Vince McMahon, and they had like the security guards like arrest him, like that. Like
it was like I mean I don't know. I just remember it was like a big deal at that time.
I had something I want. Oh, and then for building off of that Alan Hahn stat, I wonder. Forget points. I wonder how many minutes we returned from last year, because aside from Evan, right, and Obi
and Rose at the start of the year.
Sure, yeah. Deuce's minutes are back, whatever those were. Sims still here, and then we got Dante eating up 25 minutes a game, so 25 over 82 game season. I'm gonna do a lot of math right now. 1,000. It's gonna be about like 2,000 something minutes.
Yeah, probably.
So, well, I'm impressed I did that. Yeah, I'm not a math major. I'm a football guy. Schwinn, tell me who these people are. Michael
Doliak is like he's like, you remember Jason Smith?
Yes.
He's like Jason. He's like Jason.
I actually really like Jason Smith.
Why do you really like Jason Smith?
He was like the first
awesome?
stretch. He was like the first stretch big I ever watched play. I was like, dude, this guy's insane.
I loved him stretching the floor out to 19 feet. That was awesome. Yeah, he's like he was basically Jason Smith. And Clarence Weatherspoon is like Grant Williams, but terrible.
Gotcha.
But like actually terrible at everything.
So yeah. Grant Williams.
No, but like if Grant but like actually just terrible. That would be him.
Speaking of Grant Williams, the Giannis stopper himself is holding Giannis to 20 points and 8 rebounds in the first half of that Mavericks-Bucks game. So money well spent.
Oh wow, yes. I forgot that game was even on because I was. I can't stop watching the Bulls. I just can't stop watching them. You know,
they play good. You like how they play basketball, right? You're a big fan.
They're just really fun to watch. No, I watched their end of their game last night after we played. I can't stop watching this game right now. They're playing the Heat in like the Terrorism Bowl, and it's 48-40 with 38 seconds left in the first half. I mean, who wouldn't want to watch that instead of fucking Giannis and Luka? But I do need my Spurs to come through tonight. I will say that.
Well, they're up 14. I just saw them.
I know.
And
that Memphis team is tragic. But like, I mean, look, this is I to bring it back to the Knicks, talking about all these teams. I find it weird where the conversation of the Knicks exists, because you have this idea of like, well, you know, they haven't made a big move yet. Okay, so they get criticized for that. But then they also get criticized for like, well, you know, they're stuck in purgatory and they're never going to get better. And it's like, I don't get that. Like, if they haven't made their big move, then aren't you suggesting that they still have a chance to make their big move? So they're not stuck in purgatory? Like, I don't really know. And like, why are we assuming everybody in their team, like nobody can get better given the ages that they're operating in? Like, that's always weird. And like, when you look at it, like these teams, like, you know, Chicago made their big aggressive moves. They went for it. And look at them. They're a fucking shit show. You know, they're a mess. And, you know, you look at a team like fucking, why am I blanking right now? Memphis. Okay. And I understand a lot of this Memphis stuff is not entirely their fault, right? Like, I don't know how much you can blame them for Ja being insane. I don't know. You obviously the injuries and all that stuff is not great, but like
Steven Adams.
Yeah. You can't always predict that stuff, right? It's just not fair and it's not accurate. At the same time, like they've wasted 4 first-round picks. So like when you and I think this is the thing that people never accept is I've seen people be like, well, the Knicks are punting on the draft the last 2 years, and it's like, well, one, is it really punting on the draft if you traded out, got 3 protected first, and you did that so you could sign Jalen Brunson? Is that punting, or is that just like not using the draft the way everybody like that people typically use a draft? Last year they didn't punt on the draft. Okay, they traded their first round pick for Josh Hart and they probably assumed, which all of us assumed, that they would still have a first round pick because we all assumed Dallas would not be a fucking tire fire and their pick would convey. That didn't happen. That's not their fault. And also, like, making a pick doesn't guarantee that player is going to be good. Yeah, it doesn't guarantee that player is going to be good. Look at Memphis. Memphis has drafted LaRavia, Aldama. They traded DeAnthony Melton, an actual good player, to get the pick that's David Roddy, who fucking sucks. Zaire Williams, look, it's very early in his career. It's his 3rd year. Does not look great for him. He was the 10th overall pick. He looks awful. So making picks does not. What does that mean? Oh, so they made a pick. You get a fucking gold star for that?
Yeah.
You made a pick. Great job. The Warriors have made a bunch of picks. How do you feel about their young core? Yeah, you're like big fucking James Wiseman fan who's no longer there. I like Moses Moody, but Moses Moody is not some like significant needle mover at this point in time.
Well,
Kuminga, I love Kuminga. We don't know. We don't know what Kuminga is or isn't. So like, and I think Kuminga, they should absolutely give him more minutes. I think both those guys need more minutes. But my point is like, you don't know how any of these things are going to turn out. And so to only view it as like, well, they're punting on the draft. They don't care about youth. It just doesn't really make any sense to me. And it's like, they might have 2 first-round picks in this year's draft. If they draft those players, now does that mean if they draft guys and they keep them, like, does that now mean that they all of a sudden value the draft again and they're all about like young players? Like it's just these weird sliding scales. And then the last one I want to bring up is like all this fucking bullshit CAA nonsense. Like, oh, the Knicks only want clutch. Levine doesn't want to come here. He's clutch. And like Berman said something, right? Oh, the CAA Knicks. The Knicks have 2 fucking guys on their roster that are CAA clients right now, by the way. 2. Julius Randle left CAA. He's with WMU now. So like this idea the Knicks, but at first it wasn't just, remember, it was Kentucky guys. Now it's it's actually CAA guys. And now soon enough it's going to be like, oh, well, people that are they didn't draft. Like it's all bullshit, man. Like I think if you're so desperate to be down on this team and be miserable about it, be you a fan or are immaculate beat writers like Stefan Bondi, who got owned today, tried to make a joke about the Giants quarterback situation, and Steve Popper owned him, I think, on it.
What did he say?
Popper made some comment about like he saw a lot of jerseys in the crowd, Knicks jerseys, and he's like, I also saw Marvin Harrison Jr. jersey for the Giants fans. And then I think Bondi replied and was like, don't you need a quarterback for that first? And I think Popper was just like, no. No, you don't, actually. We should try watching Marvin Harrison Jr., buddy. He plays with no quarterback right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna cut it off here so we don't make it strictly NCAA again. But I mean, if we like traded for Luka and Giannis and Embiid, the beat would be like, oh, do the Knicks only trade for international guys? Like,
right?
Maybe we need some more. We need some more native, native or whatever the fuck you want to call it, like non-immigrant players on this ball club. What's Leon Rose doing? He hates the hardworking American. Is that what Leon Rose is all about? Like that's what the narrative would be. And it's like, no. They got players from good programs who play hard, are athletic, have skills, and have played good ball before, and they just fucking drafted them. It's not that hard. Like that's what every other good team in this league does. And then they supplement. They get Deuce from West Virginia, right? I believe that's where he was from.
Yes.
Shout out Coach Huggins.
I don't know. Let's not shout out Coach Huggins, though. I don't know if we want to be shouting out Coach Huggins here.
And then
I think I saw Deuce like shout him out at some point on like an IG post or something.
Oh jeez.
A couple months ago, and I was just like, no comment.
Don't do that. Don't do that. So they got him. Hartenstein is like the only guy who and Mitch, who like really didn't come from great programs, right?
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, common Knicks beat L. That's all I really have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. The discourse on this team is always stupid, but it's like somehow become more stupid now that they're good. And I'm like, wait, you like it's still bad? Like you're still mad that we're like now? So it has nothing to do with anything. It's just you're just mad about the team in general. So I don't know. I think it's like people just, I don't get why you want to be so miserable at this team or why people are. Anyway, forget people. What did you think of I know we talked a little bit about Josh Hart, but like what have you thought about him? I mean, tonight, and then just like, do you feel like, because I think he's been playing a lot better over this past week. Like, I actually even thought in the Celtics game, I know a lot of people didn't care for his performance in that game. I actually thought he played well. And Jason Tatum made a bunch of tough shots, but like he actually shot pretty well in that game. And he just seems like he's moving, like you mentioned, he's moving better. He's moving aggressively. Even was it the last game where he took a quick corner three almost on the first shot of possession of the game and he missed it? But I was just like, I'm very happy to see you just, yeah, I'm like, you didn't hesitate at all. You just pulled the trigger. So that was, I don't know. I'm like, I like what I've seen from him physically the last couple of games. I think he's moving the way you expected him and honestly, quite frankly, need him to.
Yeah, I think we need to put a bar on Team USA participation. As fun as that was, I don't want to see it ever again unless it's like for, I don't know, quick. Maybe Grimes. Grimes needs to work. Like Grimes play as like the 15th man next year. Let's do that. Yeah, I mean, Hart's just. I also feel like if there's a guy in this team to take a day off, like I would have no complaints if that was Josh Hart. he just, dude, he'll like have no shot at a loose ball, and he'll run through like a brick wall and be like, "Fuck, that hurt. I tried, coach." like that's just who he is, and in all respect to him,
I feel like DiVincenzo's like that too. But I know what you mean. Hart is like different, yeah.
Like Hart plays with like
a
football player, yeah. like what he does, stupid shit, and doesn't think twice, and you're like, all right, I mean, cool.
Hart plays like he like loved being in the box safety. Like that's how he played.
Oh,
like
yeah.
just like, oh yeah, no, this is a passing down. No, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I got this. I got it.
Yeah, I heard. I
wonder if he played football.
I mean, probably, but yeah. I heard Josh Hart is the Jordan Poyer replacement. Any sources on that?
I don't know, but he's younger than Poyer, so maybe. But look, I just like what he again. It always baffles me when he's like, because he's 6'4", and you see him standing there, and you're like, wait, so you really are just like the same height as Quickly, basically? Like,
yeah,
this is so weird. But yeah, like I think it's only been 13 games, so we are about just over 10% of the way into the season, about like 12-13% of the way, or maybe 12%, let's call it, into the season. All the concerns about like the size and the rebounding, I think we can safely put those to bed. Now, are there situations where you would probably want a bigger wing option? So this is, bro, why does Schwinn look at my offside T guy? That is racist. We're not all Indian, okay?
I'm waiting for somebody to say I look like a food cart vendor.
God, man. For some reason, I just want some spanakopita now. But like, yeah, they're killers on the glass. They're the best rebounding team in the league. They're number 2 in offensive and defensive rebound percentage coming into tonight's game. And I don't think that would have changed much. They're a really good defense, and like, yes, again, I mean, you saw it right against Boston. There were some of the Jason Tatum shots were just like, yeah, maybe if the guy was taller, but guess what? RJ Barrett didn't play that game. RJ Barrett is a bigger wing than Josh Hart. Wouldn't quite say he is a big wing, but he is a bigger wing than Josh Hart. He's defended Tatum pretty well. And quite honestly, if Randle would just try harder on defense, guess what? He would be your big wing defender. Julius Randle would be your big wing defender. So, do we still need a guy like that? Sure. But can we, you can't fix all of your problems in one moment in time. It takes years. It does take years. This is not unique to the Knicks or every team takes years to develop into eventually winning a championship. Like Nikola Jokic won MVP one. What was the first year he won it? 2021? Yeah, and they didn't win, and they didn't win a championship until 2023. Yeah. It takes time, even when you have a stud player like that. It takes time. So the Knicks absolutely still need stuff, but the broad strokes issues that people were concerned about, they don't exist, man. Like, they don't. This team is going to be good on defense. They're going to be a monster on the glass on both ends of the floor. They're probably going to end up being a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense at the end of the season. And don't look now, but they are right now a top 10 3-point shooting team in the NBA. And I do think DiVincenzo is only going to add to that as he gets going. And I don't think this is totally unsustainable. Like Randle has not even shot the ball well yet. Quickly has been a little up and down. RJ is getting back from injury. I know RJ has been really up, but guess what? His percentage will have come down after tonight. So it is more believable, I guess, than the 50% he was shooting from three. But there's just plenty of dudes. There's plenty of scope for improvement up and down the roster. And I don't know. We should at least be able to say when it seems the front office, the decisions they made and the bets they made have paid off the way you would have hoped them to pay off. And yeah.
I mean, the thing, as I was listening to you say that, I was like, even if teams don't, or fans, I should say, don't know where that upgrade's going to come from, I had no clue that Josh Hart was going to be a target. Before we signed him in free agency, I had no clue we were going to go after Hartenstein, who, by the way, I know I texted you about this like a week ago or something. Maybe you don't go overboard to bring him back because Mitch can play 30 minutes a night now pretty consistently. Mm-hmm. But, man, I kind of don't even care what it costs to bring him back, man. To a certain degree, I kind of just 3 years, $45 million. If we have to, I mean, I know it's going to affect the second apron and stuff, and then you might get really limited there before you even make the big trade. But if we can manage that under the apron and then keep that second apron move to simply when we make this, the big fish trade, I mean, man, that's when you really hit a home run.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I can't pretend that I do have an understanding of the different, first apron, second apron, the ramifications of those. The best way I'll put it is this, though. If you don't have a big star trade available to you to make this off season or whatever, I don't think you can let a player like him walk just because it may restrict you from making a trade for the type of guy that you want to make down the line. You can't let him walk for a hypothetical. If he walks because he gets a better offer and a team offers him a starting spot or whatever, then okay, then you can't do anything about that. But you've got to at least try to keep him, I think. Unless you like some other, maybe there's another Hartenstein that you like that's in the market that you can get for cheaper. But how many guys like that do you even see, right? How often does that happen? The guy is a starting caliber center who plays backup for us. And the big thing to me is he seems like a really popular dude on the team, in the locker room, whatever. Him and Mitch are buddies.
I mean, in the fan base too, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, when I think a big part of this team, a big piece of this team that's worked is like they have good chemistry and they seem to get along. Hartenstein is part of that, and guys that look, the guy sucked to start last year. Remember, and we were all like shitting on him, and he didn't say anything. He just kind of kept going out there and doing what he could, and then he reveals like a couple months later, like, yeah, I had a sore Achilles and I was just out there trying to gut it out. But like guys like that are invaluable, man. Like he's trying to gut it out for you, for your team. That has to count for something. Guys like that help set an example. They help set a tone. They help create the culture that I think the Knicks have created. And the thing with culture is like once you create it, it doesn't mean that it's done. Like you don't, oh, we created it, it's done. We don't do like, no, it's a constant thing. You have to constantly be investing into that with the players you bring in, with how you operate as a team, as an organization, what like what you value, all those things have to, it's always a work in progress. So like, I'm not saying you can't lose Hartenstein, but I you can't lose him for the hypothetical, oh, well, if we do sign him and this guy comes available in 6 months, then it will be very hard for us to like, no, that's bullshit, dude. Like you can't operate like that. You gotta keep pieces that help you win ball games. And the Knicks are now in a position where like they can't really afford to take a step back because a step back doesn't even do much for you, right? It's not like, well, if we take a step back, that'll actually like put us in contention for like a top 5 lottery pick or something. Like if we take a step back, we'll probably still be a play-in team. So
I would say if we take a step back, then you risk the narrative of like, oh, the Knicks were good in 2020 and they fooled us, and then we thought they were good again and they fooled us again, and then you get into like a can we ever buy into these guys type thing. So you can take a step back, and this is probably the hardest part now of the rebuild, right? Because like we got the top 4 seed in 2020. Who cares? You were still in talent acquisition phase. Last year, talent acquisition. This offseason, talent acquisition. And you were really always going to be there until you get that guy to kind of, elevate you like we were talking about. But the avenues are kind of, what's the word? It's kind of drying out, right? Like we use the MLE. Our picks, the projected picks are not looking like they're going to convey because the Wizards and Pistons are so garbage. So this is going to be the hardest part for this front office moving forward, of everything they've done from the time they came in and they traded Marcus Morris for Emmanuel quickly to probably the end of their tenure here. Like this is the inflection point.
Yeah, this is like the hard part to negotiate. And honestly, this apron shit being instituted now is really fucking annoying because if it didn't exist, then there'd really be nothing to talk about. It'd be like, yeah, definitely pay to keep Hartenstein. Like it costs James Dolan money. Okay. Fuck that. Like I don't give a shit.
He built an electric ball in Las Vegas. Like
yeah, well, he lost a lot of money on that right now. So hopefully,
are you serious?
Well, it's right now. I mean, right? It's a massive investment he put in. So
yeah,
they're obviously operating at a loss at the moment. But anyway,
I think LeBron implemented the second apron to fuck over the Knicks.
Maybe. Yeah, he was. Look, we'll see. All right. Any final thoughts about this game, Con, before we get out of
here? Final thoughts.
The Knicks play. They played Minnesota actually
on Monday, right?
Yeah, in Minnesota. Awesome schedule, by the way. Really, really happy with this.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Silver Lib. I think I will say I want Dante in the starting lineup. I think I'm gonna put that out there. Like I think that's my take.
You're there. That's where you are.
It's nothing Grimes did. It's not you, Grimes. It's Dante type thing.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I actually wonder if like he'd benefit from that, Grimes. Like I feel like he might benefit from coming off the bench, but I don't think that's crazy. It was the Wizards and the Hornets, and we did beat the Hornets a couple of days ago or like last week with Grimes, and we did it pretty convincingly. I don't know. It would be very. I feel like that's
premature,
and I don't know. It just feels like you're tossing away a thing that works even against the best teams in the league over a really long sample of time. We've
Okay.
seen this. Whereas this is like, well, we played the 2 worst teams in the league, and this worked really well. So let's keep it. I don't know. It just seems a little extreme to me, but I guess we'll see. All right, we're gonna end this there. It's not really much more to talk about. And honestly, it's Saturday night. Nobody wants to sit here and listen to us talk. Check out all of our work at the Strickland. We have the Patreon. Definitely give that a look. Different tiers: $6 tier, $9 tier. If you do the $9 tier, you get to see Khan's face even more on Strictly NFL.
Yes, and I will have a haircut for the next episode.
Oh wow. That's the hard sell right there.
Yep.
Yeah, look, there's that. We've got if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. That'd be a huge help to us. Thanks for everybody that was in here tonight. Thanks for everybody that was in here last night, even though I wasn't. All right, that is our show for today. I hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend, aside from Jets fans. And I will see.
And don't waste your time watching the Giants tomorrow. I'll just let me take that medicine for everybody.
Who are they playing?
Commanders.
Oh yeah,
massive game for the tank. We got to lose.
Yeah, I could see this being an annoying Wink dials up a perfect blitz type of game.
I don't want to talk about that reality. Let's get out of here.
All right, everybody have a good night, and we'll probably see you on Monday.